So if you guys have missed it or are living under a rock, the One Piece live action is officially out. I've been watching it, it's pretty great so far. And now they have revealed special promos that have characters from the live action itself. Also, they are coming out with a new promo pack that's coming to probably standard battles in the future that have a lot of blue cards based on the characters of One Piece from the East Blue arc. So you have your old favorites like Sanji, Nami, Zorro, but we are getting a brand new Luffy leader that is actually quite interesting. So let's talk about it. So first of all, there's these two cards right here that I haven't had a chance to talk about. It's a special versions of the One Piece live action cards, like promos based on the live action actors. So you got Inaki as Luffy as well as the actor for Zorro. I'm pretty sure there might be more coming, featuring like, Emily Rudd as Nami, or the Usopp, Sanji, and all of them's gonna get their own specific promos. That would be really, really cool, as well as some other characters that we'll have to take a look at later on. But this is great. I mean, if you're a fan of the live action and the fact that they're kind of doing collaboration like this, they already had a collaboration with Treasure Cruise. So now why not the live action? And it would be cool if they had like the actor signature as kind of like the chase hit of the promos. But I feel like if that's going to happen, people are going to be clamoring for them. So for now, having just like the gold inlay of the character's name, like for example Monkey D. Luffy at the side of the character, it's actually really decently. So if you're interested in this, don't need to kind of rush out to go and get them. They probably will make their way outside of Japan eventually. So my advice is to kind of wait for this to be widely more available and then go and pick them up. And now this is a tweet from Noah, so it looks like we're getting some new cards from the upcoming promo pack. So that's the promo pack right here. If you guys can see, this is how it looks like on the left. And then here are every single card that is going to be available in the promo pack itself. As you can see, there is a brand new Luffy leader. So let's talk about every single one of the cards. We'll briefly go through the effects of the cards. This is my first time looking at them, so let's go. Alright, so first let's start with the Monkey D. Luffy promo leader. So we have a new Luffy leader in blue this time, and 5 life, 5000 power, so it's a fairly standard leader. Dawn 1, when attacking, if you have 3 or less cards in your hand, draw 1 card. That's it. Very simple, very straightforward. It's a pretty decent ability, I would say, for a leader that is, considered to be like a promo. If you have 3 or less cards in your hand, when you're attacking with Dawn 1, draw 1 card. Maybe in blue decks that kind of want to go for the long game, the late game, this could be really good, especially in the later half of the game when you're running out of cards after you're countering like crazy. Every single time you attack with Luffy, you're going to draw 1 card. So at least you're refilling your hand by 1 card. When I saw this card for the first time, I was thinking to myself, in the context of OP05 leaders with all of the new powerful leaders such as like Sakazuki, Eno, the purple Luffy from OP05, all of the new red purple leaders coming from SD10, can this leader actually stand the test of, rumbling with all these powerful new leaders? That kind of remains to be seen. I'm sure someone will make him work. It's blue after all. Blue has access to a lot of powerful cards, with all the great removal. So even if you use that entire package, but use Luffy as the leader, maybe he can stand a chance across the meta game, but we have to wait and see. But even then, I'm still excited to, see that this card has a promo. Great leader card. Can't wait to pick this up. Now, we talked about the 2 film promos early on, and they actually have effects, so we're going to talk about them. So let's start with Luffy. I'm going to put the Luffy promo version as well as the live action promo version. So Luffy's ability is, 4 cost, 5000 power with counter 1000. On play, you may trash 2 cards from your hand. Your opponent chooses a character they own and places it at the bottom of their deck. To me, that's actually really quite good because, if your opponent only has 1 character left on the field, when you play Luffy and you can trash 2 cards from your hand, you can just immediately remove it. Sure, it's a really big ask because you gotta make sure that it's the target that you want to be choosing because your opponent has to choose the character, not you. So in a situation where your opponent has only 1 big threat, let's say a 9 cost Whitebeard, you play down this Luffy, you trash 2 cards from your hand, and then they bottom deck the Whitebeard because that's the only one they can choose. But in any other situation where the board is kind of flooded, it's gonna be a little bit less powerful. People have been saying that this will be great in something like Ivankov, that because you want to be trashing cards from your hand anyway. So that's something that you can potentially play out. So maybe if you're using the Luffy as with like the Ivankov leader, maybe it can be something because once Ivankov is at 0 cards in your hand, you can draw 2 cards. Could be useful. I don't know. I just feel like this character needs a lot more for it to work. But let's talk about Zorro. So once again, Zorro promo and then Zorro live action promo. So on 4 cost 6,000 power, no counter. On play, you may pay 2 Dawn. Return the character with a cost of 5 or less to their owner's hand. So it's a great tempo card. Yeah, you can, as long as you have 6 Dawn, you play out Zorro, you pay 2, you can return something back to your opponent's hand. So as long as you're going second and your opponent played out, let's say, like a 5 cost character like a Marco the Phoenix, and you don't have any characters on the field, you can always bounce it back to your hand to kind of gain a little bit more tempo over your opponent. However, in that slot, it's competing with that event 3000 worlds slot because it is 4 costs after all, and this requires you to not only on play, but you have to pay 2 Dawn. So it's a little bit extra, but it could work. Maybe in the dedicated deck where you want to gain a little bit more tempo over your opponent, this could be a good card to play. Now let's briefly talk about all the other promos. So I'm going to flash them on screen right here. So Sanji is a 3 cost 2000 power with blocker with counter 1000, and Dawn 1 during your turn. If you have 3 or less cards in your hand, this character gains plus 4000 power. So this is meant to be working with the blue promo Luffy. Who cares about having cards in your hand? But situationally, like in terms of how powerful this card is, it's really not that great. It has blocker, so that's good. So you can use it as a blocker straight up, and when you need to, you can use it as an attacker because 1 Dawn plus 4k power is going to be a 7k attacker. So in that sense, maybe it has some use for it. And next, we're going to take a look at Nami. Nami is a 1 cost 1000 power with counter 2000 on play. If you have 3 cards less in hand, if you have 3 or less cards in hand, return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less to his owner's hands. So yeah, for this, I can see some use for it. It's a 2k counter after all, and it has some utility to bounce one of your opponent's stuff back. Kind of reminds me of Nojiko a little bit. And, great artwork. I can't wait to see if Emily Rudd's going to get a version of this. So, very excited about that. Then Usopp is a 2 cost 3000 power with counter 1000. And on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and place them at the top or bottom of the deck in any order. So it's essentially behaving like a Perona, just a little bit stronger on 2 costs. This I would see definitely being played 100% because Perona sees play, Doflamingo sees play, and now X-Drake sees play. So maybe if you want to play Usopp, you can. So some of the other characters are actually based on the live action itself. So we have Shanks, we have Arlong, we have Garp, as well as Garp and Mihawk, and all of them have individual effects. I'm going to flash them all on screen and briefly just read through them. So Shanks is a 7 cost 9000 power with when attacking and we discard any number of cards from your hand, this character gains 1000 power during this battle for each card discarded this way. This one I'm actually excited about because if you're at the last kind of going for the kill and you have Shanks on field, your opponent has 0 life, no blockers, you can just put a bunch of Dawn on Shanks, discard cards as much as your hand has, and then just boost his power up by a ridiculous amount to go for game. So this maybe can see a little play here and there as a sort of like a top end finisher. Interesting, but yeah, we gotta wait and see. Now we'll talk about Arlong. 3 cost 4000 power with counter 1000, and Dawn 1 when attacking. If you have 4 or more cards in your life area, your opponent places 1 card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. This is kind of interesting. I mean, for some reason, Arlong's effects just attacks the hand for some reason. I mean, for the OPO1 one and kind of this one. But this is kind of cool. Maybe your opponent isn't attacking you, then you can kind of punish them for some reason to just attack your hand. But more often than not, this is not a card that's going to see play. That's my opinion of it. And for Garp, it's a 6 cost 7000 power character with counter 1000. Dawn 1, this character cannot be KO'd in battle by strike attribute characters. Just fairly basic. You can use it if you want to. However, I don't think that the effect is kind of great enough to warrant to see some play over like other cards that has similar stat line and better effects. For example, you can play out, I think like even the 7 cost Borsalino would have a stronger effect than this one. So maybe all the promos are not like super great. They just have decent effects, like Garp and Mihawk. 6 cost 7000 power with counter 1000. Dawn 1, this character cannot be KO'd in battle by slash attribute character. Same thing as Garp. Not really the kind of stuff that's going to see play in the metagame, but it's really nice to have because it's promos after all. You can put it in part of your collection. I'm glad they're not that strong because if the mechanically unique promos are really strong, then people will be clamoring to get them. And you know, sometimes promos do cost a lot of money. I know for the English release, the Jinbei promos giving a lot of problems right now due to its price. So it's great that the cards are not super powerful in this way, but people can still use them if they want to. So there you go. For the upcoming promo pack, we're gonna get all these promos. Hopefully, we can get my hands on a pack so I can show the cards in person. This is probably gonna show up in some standard battle or some event in the future. So you should be looking out for it for the English release because they're gonna make their way over there as well. But let me know what you think about the Luffy leader in particular, because that leader itself is something that I'm interested to see what people do with it. Because is it powerful enough to kind of rumble with the new guys and the new leaders who are extremely powerful right now, or will it just fall off the wayside just as how promo leaders do? I'm looking at you, Uta, at least there's some utility to it, so I'm excited to see what people cook up with it. Anyway, that's it for me for today. Just wanted to update about this. I've been fairly busy trying to catch up with the live action as well, so if you guys haven't watched it, please watch it. It's great. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.